You see, every person that's created and everything that's created has an ideal environment and an ideal purpose. I get this from Dr. Miles Monroe. The purpose of a fish is to bring forth other fish and to be food and to show the diversity of God's creativity. The environment for the fish is the sea. If you take the fish out of the water, it begins to malfunction and die. A flower is made to produce other flowers, to look beautiful, to smell nice in many cases. Ideal environment is most of the time planted in the soil. If you take a flower out of its ideal environment, unless you replant it, it begins to wither and malfunction and die. We have an ideal environment and a purpose. Smart people got together 400 years ago, and they asked this question: what is the chief end of man? What is the purpose of mankind? I used to ask that in college, stoned out of my mind. Why are we here? And my friends would say, wow, dude, that's heavy. Why are we here? And finally I said, I don't know, but love is the answer, dude. And I was right. I just didn't know who love was. Well, these theologians got together in what we call the Westminster Conference or Confession. And they said the chief end or duty or purpose of man is to worship God and enjoy him forever. I love both parts of that. Worship God and enjoy him forever. Do you enjoy God? He enjoys you. But we also have an ideal environment. The word Eden is made up of Hebrew symbols, and each symbol has a specific meaning. Eden means a spot or place for the moment where there's an open door to the delightful heavenly presence of God. That's our ideal environment. A spot or place for the moment. God is I am. He always was and he always will be, but his name is I am. He's a right now God. An open door, where there's an open door access. Jesus made a way for us to be in the presence of God and for God's presence to be in us through the Holy Spirit. An open door to the delightful heavenly presence of God. In other words, God told Adam and Eve, hey, I'm going to bless you. And you take this place of where heaven kisses earth, and I want you to cultivate this garden and let it fill the whole earth. And the mandate is still on because Jesus won back for us what Adam and Eve forfeited through sin. And now Jesus says, go into all the world and preach the good news to every creature. And I'm with you always. The deal is still on. So that is an overview of our calling. We get to partner with the God of this good news, with the God who so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. And that should give us confidence in our songwriting because we're partnering with the Almighty. And it's not an excuse. I love what John said. I've said that too as a joke. God gave me this song because he didn't want it. But the flip side of that is true. God does inspire us. Again, my friend Morris Chapman calls us song receivers. So I pray that your ear will be tuned this weekend to the tips, to the practical advice of your coaches, and to the voice of the Spirit, because we do live by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. It's a powerful thing. The word says, be filled with the Spirit, speaking to yourselves in psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs, singing and making melody in your heart to the Lord. Writing from an overflow means to have your antenna on. When I was a teenager, we had CB radios. And so when you turned the radio on and got to your channel, the first thing you said was, breaker, breaker, 19, you got your ears on. And that means, are you listening? Are you tuned into this channel? Well, God's saying, do you have your ears on, songwriters, this weekend? Breaker, breaker, good buddy. God's on the line. And he's speaking. Aren't you glad that he wants to speak to us? And again, I've never heard the audible voice of God, but sometimes he speaks much louder than that. I was in a church in Lakeland, Florida a few years ago, talking about writing out of the overflow. And I was tired. I didn't really want to be there. I'm so thankful to get to travel and minister, and most of the time I'm very eager and excited, or at least by the time the service starts or the concert starts, I'm just really excited to do it by the grace of God. But this particular night, I didn't want to be there. I'd rather been back at the hotel watching basketball or football or Andy Griffith. But it was on the schedule. It's my livelihood. And I couldn't really, in good conscience, cancel, even though I was just emotionally tired. Maybe Rita and I were going through some tough stuff in our marriage at that time. But there I was sitting in the green room. Well, it was actually the nursery. There was a rocking chair, and I was the only one in there. And so I'm sitting in this rocking chair, and I'm thinking, I'm so tired. I'm so tired. But I heard myself begin to sing something totally opposite. This new song, as I was inspired, I began to sing, I don't feel no ways tired. And my mind said, you're lying. But my spirit said, I don't feel no ways tired. The Lord, my Lord, is the strength of me. I don't feel no ways tired. Guess what happened? My physical being, my mind, my body began to hear what my spirit man was singing in faith. And my physiology began to change. And I began to feel refreshed. And I sang it again. I don't feel no ways tired. I don't feel no ways tired. The Lord, my Lord, is the strength of me. Wrong chord. That's much better. I don't feel no ways tired. And then I sang this little part. Lord, you are good. You have been good to me. Isn't that true? Lord, you are good. You have been good to me. Sing it with me. I don't feel no ways tired. 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 The Lord, my Lord. The Lord, my Lord, is the strength of me. I don't feel no ways tired. Lord, you are good. Lord, you are good. You have been good to me. Sing that again. Lord, you are good. You have been good to me. And do you know, by the time that service started, I was so excited that I started the service out, the concert out, telling them the story I just told you and starting with that song. And I was crying and I was encouraged and people were blessed. And that was a song that was written out of the Overflow. I didn't ask for it. Maybe I kind of did as I groaned, Lord, I'm tired. And he heard my cry, which he does. And so I just wanted to give you one example. Now, that's a very simple song. It didn't need rewriting. Sometimes those songs birthed in the moment, when you go back and look at them, you can tweak them. You can look at the lyrics and